Hey everyone, Nick here and welcome back to Neighbourhood, the home of Let's Plays, concept videos, discussions, trailer reactions, and a whole bunch more. But more specifically, welcome back to our Little Nightmares character concept series. So for today's character concept, we'll be going into the Puppeteer. So we've had a couple of viewers out there suggest a Puppeteer-like character, so before we put our own twist on a character like that and tell our own individual story. Also, a Puppeteer character is very heavily intertwined with our original Puppet video as well. So for this new character, we'll be going into their location, their gameplay mechanics, their story, and all that good stuff as well. As always, we will just state that we don't expect Bandai Namco or Tarsier Studios to really take this idea and do anything with it, like make a game or a DLC. These are just some creepy cool ideas that we can tell, and we hope you enjoy. Once again, today's character was designed by myself, but also a thank you to Jafer who has designed a reoccurring character that appears in this video. And lastly, before we start today's video, if you could please consider leaving a like and commenting as it helps out a lot and it's greatly appreciated. Also, do subscribe to Neighbourhood so you don't miss a thing, and also we will be hosting a subscriber-only live stream where we make a community character, so stay tuned for that. Alrighty, well, let's get into the Puppeteer. So in one of our previous videos, we were introduced to Puppet, a strange puppet-like creature who was set out to capture the protagonist, the kind child. The strange puppets stalked the kind child throughout the house, trying to capture them in every room they explored. They soon discovered they were able to ward off this creepy puppet with a source of light. Near the end of that video, they set up a trap down in the basement where they would blast the unsuspecting puppet with multiple sources of light. The kind child bested the sinister puppet as it collapsed to the ground defeated. Just as the kind child left the basement, they were grabbed by the puppet's lifeless hand. An unknown force pulled the puppet and the kind child through a door down in the basement. As it closed shut, that was the last we've seen of the kind child. After this ordeal with the evil puppet, we then come back to our two other protagonists, the siblings. The siblings just escaped an ordeal of their own, including an abandoned arcade and a deranged mascot. After they successfully bested the defective mascot, they were met with a friendly stranger who let both the children out of the arcade and set them on their way. In the early hours of the morning, the siblings rest in their makeshift home. The brother wakes up and leaves his sister to sleep a little longer as they find them both something to eat. The brother heads off and searches a nearby trash can. They've set up their new makeshift home in the back alley near a bakery. Every morning there would always be discarded stale bread for both of them to eat. As their brother returns with their meal, they notice their sister is gone. Before they can look for their sister, a large net swoops over them. They turn back and see a strange looking character has caught them in their net and also has a hold of their sister. This strange looking character was in fact the mailman. In the past, the kind child has dealt with this character before. Back in the suburbs, the kind child stole back what was rightfully theirs. The kind child got the best of the mailman and locked him in their own mail van. But it seems they weren't locked up for long. The mailman takes the siblings and packages them both in parcel boxes and drives away. The mailman wasn't a violent character. They didn't wish to harm the children. The mailman only captures/steals items and individuals and mails them to random households. This is all the mailman knows. Their whole life has been devoted to delivering parcels, even if there was no one to collect or receive these items anymore. The mailman kept on delivering in a delusional act. It was just their nature. We now found ourselves back in the suburbs. The two boxes are left on the street side as the van drives away. The brother manages to tear out of their cardboard box. They then quickly go to open their sister's parcel and check if they were alright. She seems fine, just a little shaken up. As they look around at their new surroundings, they realise they were no longer in the Pale City. They decide to walk down the street and figure out where they are. As they make their way through the neighbourhood, they see a strange looking house. The further they head down the street, they see a house completely covered in what looks to be string. The siblings stare at the odd house that has been completely enveloped in this strange looking string. The string appears to lead out the front door and into another house across the street. As the little sister approaches the house, they notice some more of the string is moving inside. The brother quickly follows after their little sister as she enters the house to investigate this strange string. The brother catches up to their sister as they both enter through the doorway. They didn't know why, but some strange force was drawing them in. They need to know where this string led to. They followed the string down the hallway and into one of the rooms. As they enter the room, they see a truly shocking sight. There, at the end of the room, was the kind child strung up. They seemed unconscious but still alive. The siblings stare in shock as their long-lost friend floats in mid-air. As they get a closer look, their friend appears to look the same, except for one detail. One of their arms has become wooden. All of a sudden, out of the darkness appears a frightening character. This character is the Puppeteer. The Puppeteer is a sinister-looking character with a cracked wooden mask, dirty trench coat, horrible rotten teeth, and they also appear to be missing an arm. They have the kind child tied up and suspended from a wooden control cross. The siblings approach closer, but the Puppeteer fades away and disappears back into the darkness. The siblings quickly notice around their feet the sinister strands of string trying to grab at them. They quickly evade the string and exit the room. The siblings have to find the kind child and free him from this horrible Puppeteer. They begin to search all the rooms in the house in hopes of finding the kind child. As the siblings enter the first room, the door behind them gets tied shut with string. They see in front of them a strange looking grandfather clock with wooden puppet arms as clock hands. It appears to be a puzzle that's been deliberately placed in this room. The siblings have got the feeling that the Puppeteer is testing them. In this puzzle segment, the main player would have to spin the clock hands in the correct position. The only thing is, the 3 cogs that work the crank are missing. The player would have to search the room for the cogs and then place them inside the mechanism. Once the player has found all the missing cogs, they can finally spin the hands. Once they're in the correct position, a small compartment opens up on the clock. Inside this compartment lays a pair of scissors. With these newly acquired scissors, the brother cuts through all the strings, closing the door. The siblings now make it to the next room where once again they see no sign of the kind child. As they enter this room, the door once again closes shut and a different kind of string wraps around the door. The brother can't seem to cut through it. The scissors pass straight through. As they turn back around, they notice that all the lights are out. Across on the other side of the room is a lever switch, but it seems to be missing some components. The siblings look up and see 2 fuses tied up in string hanging from the ceiling. As the brother climbs up to cut them free, the Puppeteer appears behind them. They send out strands of string as they entangle around the sister. The Puppeteer draws them in closer and closer. In this gameplay segment, the player would have to rush down and cut the strings to free their sister. They would also have to run back and cut free the fuses before they raise up and disappear. So the player would have to juggle between cutting their sister free and obtaining the fuses to activate the switch. Once the player has freed their sister and activated the switch, all the lights in the room suddenly turn on. The strange rope around the door fizzles away, but the Puppeteer remains unaffected by the light. They give an eerie smile as they disappear back into the twisted strands of string. The siblings exit through the door and set out to search for the other rooms. They come across a large set of doors. They appeared to be locked tight with a strange looking lock. The lock didn't seem to have any hole for a key. On the lock are many different symbols. The siblings don't know the combination to this odd lock, so they leave it for now and continue to search. They eventually come to the living room. Above the fireplace hangs a large family portrait. In this painting, they can see the puppeteer. Alongside them is a strange-looking woman and a child that was tied up in the puppeteer's strings. Was this the puppeteer's family? Was this strange woman their wife? And was the odd-looking puppet their son? The siblings approach the fireplace and notice someone has loaded it with wood. Assuming this was another twisted puzzle by the puppeteer, they attempt to light it. In this gameplay segment, the siblings need to light the fire. The sister climbs up and turns the gas as the brother locates some matches. They strike the matches and they throw them in. The fireplace lights up with a warm, glowing flame. The siblings stand back as they notice the warmth of the fire is changing the colour of the painting. The painting reveals 3 symbols similar to the ones they saw on the combination padlock. When they arrive back at the locked doors, they arrange the symbols in the correct order. The lock opens up and they enter the final room. As they enter, they finally see the kind child. They're still bound up by the string and strung from the ceiling at the end of the room. The siblings approach the unconscious kind child and try to cut them free. They still need to keep an eye out for this twisted puppeteer as they could appear at any time. Just as the brother pulls out their pair of scissors, the puppeteer once again appears from behind. This time they have that strange looking puppet attached to their strings. The puppeteer and the puppet advance forward. They then send their puppet out to grab the siblings. The siblings, with nowhere to run, wait for their impending doom. The sister holds their bear tighter than they ever have before. So tight, in fact, that they accidentally squeezed on the switch inside the stuffed animal. All of a sudden, the bear's eyes light up as the puppet immediately backs up to avoid the light. It turns out this whole time, the teddy bear also doubled as a children's nightlight as well. The sister walks forward with the bear as the puppet backs away, twitching in pain. The puppeteer, in a fit of anger, unpins their coat sleeve. Their sleeve droops down as a stream of string crawls out towards the children. The brother, armed with their scissors, starts to cut any of the strands that approach them or their sister. The siblings need to keep this deranged puppeteer and their puppet at bay to protect themselves and the kind child. Every time the brother cuts another strand, the puppeteer winces in pain. In this gameplay segment, the siblings would have to keep fighting for a designated amount of time. More strands of string break through the floorboards and walls, loosening all the wood and weakening the structure of the room. With all their might, the puppeteer manifests as many strands of string as they can. Just as the brother can't cut any more, the ceiling gives way as a large beam of wood lands on the puppeteer. The puppeteer has been knocked out, and as a result, their puppet as well as all their strings immediately fall to the ground. The brother cuts the kind child loose as they finally awaken out of their state. The 3 children have to quickly escape this house before the puppeteer comes to. The doorway is blocked by all the string and fallen wood. The 3 children find a hole in the wall near the back of the room. As they enter, the brother notices some strands of string are just about to grab their sister. The brother quickly jumps in the way of their sister and gets entangled in the string. The puppeteer has made one final attempt at seizing the children. The floor beneath them crumbles and the ceiling above them cracks and falls. The sister desperately tries to reach for their brother as they fall down with the puppeteer into the depths of the house. They both fall down as the ceiling gives way and collapses down, burying them both. The the brothers sacrificed themselves for their sister. All they ever wanted was to keep their sister safe, and in the end, that's exactly what they did. The sister stands there devastated at what just took place. Stunned in shock and frozen with sadness, the kind child carries them out of the collapsing house. As they exit, they just get out as the house falls apart and collapses on itself. The kind child places the sister down as they walk over to the rubble and stare at it for a while. They then place the teddy bear down at the doorstep. They join the kind child as they walk away from the collapsed house. As they walk down the street, the kind child's eyes once again start to glow. They can sense that someone is still out there. Someone more menacing than anyone they've encountered thus far. The kind child realizes they'll never be safe until they go to this individual. Only then will they ever end the cycle. Will they ever end this nightmare?
Alrighty everyone, that's what we have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please consider leaving a like and commenting, as it helps out a lot and it's greatly appreciated. Also, do be sure to subscribe to Neighbourhood, because we'll be doing our community live stream in a couple of weeks' time, so stay tuned for that. And like always, leave a comment down below what you thought of the Puppeteer, and also what future characters you'd like to see going forward. Alrighty, well, until the next video, I'll catch you later. Bye.